there everyone, and welcome back to Napoleon Total War 3 with this Papal States campaign. Last time around, this army right here, the Papal Guard army, fought a battle right at the bridge here. Once that was done and we barely won it, it was touch and go there, as the enemy was able to break through on my left side and almost rout the entire army. However, we did in the end prevail, and so now we've chased the enemy back to their castle back here in Beslao, and we'll see about destroying this army and taking over this region, because if we don't, then we've got Napoleon right on our heels, and he's even got a secondary army as well coming right up there to attack us. So we better get cracking and crack this fortress. The walls are about to fall, and there they go. We are ready to storm the fortress. The main problem is, of course, the cavalry which is inside. Most of the infantry I've been able to deal with, but hopefully we should be able to make short work of this and get inside rather quickly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move slightly back, and we're going to set up just outside of musket range, and I want to see if I can't get their cavalry to come out and fight us, since I'm being forced to move into square to protect my troops. Looks like they are. I did not have to do anything special to get them out here. I'm gonna hold fire, and we're gonna see if we can't get a shot off on them right as they're... You know what? I'm gonna order the cannons. You know what? It might be best to already kind of form into square here, just because of the dangers of heavy cavalry, especially these guard heavy cavalry that is coming on us. Saxon heavy guard cavalry. We're gonna bring these guys up, and they're gonna be line setting to fire on them through here. We're gonna have these smaller units set up behind or in between the squares to fire at them. Currently I'm firing through here, but I don't think I actually need that, so go back to focusing on the wall, and we'll break through there. Because right now it looks like their cavalry is having no luck in trying to break our squares.
Our general is under attack.
For some reason the general decides he want to move forward, almost into an attack. As soon as the cavalry is gone, we'll be able to make our attempt at storming the castle. Luckily for me, when I broke down this wall right here, a lot of the French troops were stationed on this, and so they died. Although, as you know, they don't actually die here or down here, they die when they go down through here. So we got probably close to like 1,000 men lying dead right there in a big pile. Okay, they're sending some troops around the corner there. Currently they're focusing in on the probably the biggest square I've got right there on the side. Interesting that they've decided to go for that one. Seems like it's only these 3 cavalry units left, and we just broke another hole in the wall. At this point we don't have any other targets than to fire here and hope to bounce a few shots into the Belgian dragoons. But that cavalry unit was almost entirely slaughtered. Should not speak too soon. There's one guy. Can someone shoot him? One man managed to get away from that unit. And here comes the last, the Belgians. Once they're gone, we can try and storm the castle. Let's add some more firepower to this by having the smaller units move up in between and open fire here. Really, this one's the one that's going to be important. As that is happening, these guys aren't really... They don't really have anything to fire upon, so they can move forward. See if we can break through the fort walls over there. Belgian dragoons, soon enough, they'll be forced to break. I could probably actually form a lot of these squares into a line at this point. I don't think the Belgians are strong enough on their own anymore to actually break any of the squares. But for safety, we're gonna keep the squares. Now we'll move into line though. And we'll start to close in on the castle. We've got militia regiment coming out. Unless there's any more units inside which are hidden from my view, I feel like declaring this a victory right now, because I mean, if this only thing is a small 145 men unit of conscripts, and then we've got one single unit of local partisans here, which is already getting shot up, then they don't really have much, do they? We can speed this up a little bit. Right, force your way inside. We'll just send everyone in. This one should fall pretty soon as well. I feel like probably the cannon shots, we're probably shooting ourselves here. Other than the cannons are hold fire, we're gonna go for a charge instead. And you know what? It does look like this is it. They don't have any more troops than the conscript unit and the general. I'm gonna order all of our troops to storm the castle, and specifically go after the general to try and kill him. But with that, I think it's safe to say that I have won. And there comes the actual moment that I've won. The conscript unit was broken, the general was chased away, and the French flag is pulled down. As a result, we deployed about equal troops, around 3,000 men. Difference is I lost 321 while the enemy lost everything. Highest killers goes to this regiment, which killed 154. Otherwise, they're about equal. Not a lot of kills at all. Most of them were done by me breaking the wall. But this is wonderful. We've managed then to capture Beslao. We're gonna immediately leave the area though, and we're gonna head for the Berlin or the Brandenburg region to get the sweet replenishment from that region. And my agent's gonna try and infiltrate Napoleon's army. And he's successful. And just before I go ahead and end turn, we're gonna hand over this region to the Prussians. And I'm gonna offer them 5,000 as well. Right, now that has turned over to Prussia. The army is recuperating over here. It's probably gonna join with Gambrelli as he makes his move over here. What we're looking at for today's hopeful battle is that Pietro is gonna fight here, do a battle as Napoleon moves in. Him and Kutuzov is gonna fight, and that's a hope anyways. Let's go ahead and end turn and see if my idea comes to fruition. Well, unfortunate for me, that did not happen at all. Instead, Napoleon decided to move to Warsaw instead, and set up with his troops there. The French have been thoroughly kicked out of the Russian region, or at least, I mean, would say that it's Austrian region, right? I think it starts off as an Austrian region. Let's go ahead and see then. What we want to do is we probably want to move on Western Danzig. What I could do is I could bring all my forces to bear on Western Danzig. And because this is another one of those that's a siege because it's a fort here. So I could see about moving all my armies to deal with this, and this could be an outer assault. And we could then see about moving after Napoleon. Now, unfortunately, I'm leaving Kutuzov out to dry, and he's most likely gonna get attacked by the French. But then again, what has the coalition ever done for me than just profit of my successes? So why don't they be a little bit of a sacrificial lamb for me? And also Kutuzov is one of the immortal characters. He doesn't die. Let's go ahead and end turn and see if we can't add another territory to the Prussians. And then Napoleon is left with Poland, and Poland alone. Decorated hero. We get an ancillary gained for the guard army, or the general of that. Decorated hero. That's a pretty good, some pretty good stats. 1 plus morale, prestige. But this one, I guess, is the most interesting one. -10 to losses in attrition, in areas of attrition. That's pretty good stat. Let's move forward here and see if we haven't enough to out-resolve this one. This one seems to still be slightly in their favor, which I don't really like. What I could do is, they have 4 turns until starve out. I could try to starve them out and then deal with them. This army should stay put. Yeah, I think we'll force them to surrender and then take them on, and that'll be the battle of this video. And then we'll leave the last part, taking out Napoleon and Warsaw, in the next video. So the next one will certainly be the last. I don't know how, in what manner or ways I would be able to stretch the video to the point where I make another one. But anyways, we'll have to end a few turns to see if we can't get them, force them to come out of the fort. Given the army, I feel like I only need one force to deal with them. So what I'm going to do is, just in case the French decides to try and relieve them, I'm going to go ahead and put Pietro on one of the bridges to make sure they can't get through. And with that, let's go ahead and end turn 3 times. There we go. The French has had enough. They want food. But food is not what they're going to get. Right, and so we have it. The battle is off. Now, unfortunately for the enemy, most of their army actually set up way up here. And they're bringing them in piecemeal, which obviously isn't going to work too well. I've done sort of a new formation in that we've got cannons in the center. I always put cannons in the center. But we have 2 grenadier units on either side. And then on the side of the grenadiers we've got 2 voltigeurs, and then the infantry brigades on the sides of those. In this case I can only fit 2, so we've got 1 on the side of the hill here, with a hussar backing them up. I also placed the dragoons behind the cannons. And yeah, that's my setup. As of right now, the enemy is coming on us bit by bit. Why did you... The enemy wasn't even close and you decided to abandon the guns. That's kind of odd. They're bringing in a lot of cavalry, seemingly gunning for my guns. It's not really working out for them, charging headlong into canister. Although the 10th Lancers might be the unit that actually gets close enough. If he was just about to fire that gun. Right, I won't be able to move my artillery pieces. Oh, no, 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 no. You're not firing straight up the side there. I don't think, maybe he wasn't going to do that, but it kind of looked like it when he had the guns facing that way. These guys firing up my flank. We'll tilt this guy just a little bit. I guess I can move these 2 infantry a little bit forward so both the units can go ahead and attack. The enemy is kind of all over the place. The thing is, let's see, where is... Switch to round shot. I want to break down the cavalry, especially this one. Once they're gone, we could see about advancing. Actually, what I think we could do... Okay, they're focusing troops out on my flank here. Let's see about getting rid of this guy. And then see about focusing a little bit of our troops on this. Form square, and the hussars will charge. Unfortunately, I charged down quite a bit of my own troops, but I was able to break the enemy down, and I will continue down into the 2 infantry units, and then we'll bring in these guys from the flank. And to face off the enemy coming from the front, I will set them to canister. The voltigeurs were actually broken, but I don't think we'll get through the landwehr, or at least not in the way that we want to. So I'm gonna quickly order the infantry forward, and we'll see about getting rid of them that way. This regiment should be ready to fire them. There's a risk here of my cavalry getting shot down by my own troops. Okay, they're bringing in more and more troops, and they're really focusing in on this area. Nothing on this side. Let's go ahead and move. Start moving troops to see if we can't take advantage of this, or at least make sure that the enemy doesn't take advantage of us being kind of undermanned on this side. What I'm going to do is we're going to set these guys along the wall, and they're going to protect that. And then we're going to have these move forward to deal with the regiments that are there. The hussars coming up in the flank, ready to charge. Light infantry pull back, form into light formations. Grenadiers will move slightly back as the cannons will set to fire. I'll be moving forward more troops soon. Let's go ahead and have the hussars go in for the attack. Pretty good position behind the wall. The light troops should be able to add to the damage here. I do kind of want them to move towards the artillery though, so that I can absolutely bombard them with my guns. Right, we ran down the Grenadier regiment, but I don't want to continue here because I can't get any artillery support down in this valley, so we're going to try and move back into this area. Let's have the light infantry move closer for support here. Meanwhile, I think, yeah, there's some artillery all the way back here, so we're gonna have the hussars go after those. You know what? Artillery, focus in on the huge cavalry unit, and then we'll move our troops forward to deal with the rest of this army. We're taking quite the hits here, so it's not going too well in the fight in this area, even though we're behind a wall. But I guess because the enemy is kind of situated above us, they're able to fire upon us from there. I'll have you behind as a reserve, and then I'll try to move you up here and be able to fire at the enemy from up there. And we'll get the hussars up on the hill as well. This regiment's not very happy about the position. I'm going to move the general closer to support. 2 grenadiers will be moved, and then be set as reserves around there. And then dragoons will be moving around that way. Get rid of those cannons. Okay, the guys on the walls are holding. Currently they've got no more troops going around the flank, which is good. Fire on this one back here. It's all Polish troops. Let's see, the general has made it up here. It's good. Light troops firing onto the Polish. Hopefully this regiment will be ready to set up rather soon, if they weren't such asshats in setting up a formation. The Polish are closing in rapidly at this point. The light troops will fall back as the enemy is really close here. Grenadiers setting up. It's the 3rd and 2nd. These two are in a little bit over their heads as there's so many Polish troops coming on. And we're losing space, so we're going to move into line. These light troops are going to move slightly back. Cannon's gonna hold fire. It's time to switch to canister. And we'll see if we can't start firing canister in the way of the enemy. Kind of focusing in around this area right here. Get closer to the first line. Let's see, the Hussars go after the second artillery over there. This line doesn't really work. Let's see, are you able to fire? Yes. Shooting down the grenadiers. Let's see, bring forwards the dragoons. I think we can sweep a lot of this. Canister is no longer really needed. I'm more interested now in breaking down this brigade. Drop skirmish formation and move to the flank. And then I'll order the cavalry charge. And then I will order these two to go in for a bayonet attack. Here comes the dragoons. Kind of splintered in their formation of attack. As they're piling on, we'll tell more and more of our units here to hold fire. Keep the dragoons going. Let's get these hussars in. And this one does not really have an avenue of attack in the same way. Okay, let's storm forwards with the grenadiers.
Our men are running, sir.
Dragoons are breaking them all. The French actually broke one of the units here, but the secondary unit managed to break through, and it's fighting its way through. The enemy was forced down there. Same over here. All the French troops are now running. It's just that big cavalry unit that is left. We'll order the cavalry to retreat, and then I will order all the line infantry forward. We'll see if we can't get ourselves into a position to defeat this unit. The Polish are running away. This unit's just sitting there, taking damage, even though we're just leveling shot after shot into that. Oh, this line infantry unit managed to get all the way into, all the way forward to the actual unit. That's pretty crazy. Set up over there. You will halt. These two will hold here. And let's order these, something like that. And then make sure that everyone's fired well. Form into square, have the light troops move into position there. Hussars will be behind the dragoons. Are they going for their attack now? We might have to bind them in an attack here. I'll order in the cavalry. They're kind of unsure of where they're going here. Light troops doing good work on the flank. The unit seems to be on the retreat. Let's form into line and see if we can't shoot them down. At this point, the cannons are going to shoot our own men. So there's nothing really good about me shooting on the back of my own men. Same here actually with the cavalry, where both the units
Our men are running
aren't
for
doing too hot. Let's order them to withdraw. The thing is, they don't really need to organize this big cavalry unit in any way, because it's so big that it'll just crush anything it comes into contact with. Although here it's actually being stopped kinda by a single unit of voltigeurs. We're gonna open up with the cannons again, because the voltigeurs are getting completely overrun.
our men are running.
I think
for
to the point where that unit might be absolutely killed. There's only 20 of them left. But then finally we're able to break the big brigade. 20 men survived, so I think the unit should be fine. But there we have it, we are victorious. It just dragged out a long time because I had to deal with a unit of 500 heavy cuirassiers. Here's the result of the battle. We deployed similar amount of troops. We're talking there's a difference of 20 men or so on either side. The enemy lost 3,474, while we lost about 1,700 or 1,657. The highest kills goes to Hussars, followed by a line infantry regiment, followed by a voltigeur one, dragoons, regiment 12 pounder gun, and so on. General staff at the bottom killing no one. But it was close victory, and now the French will starve and have to surrender the fort. I guess the siege persists. Gentlemen, physician. Alright. I guess it continues. They have one more turn until surrender. The problem here is if I auto-resolve at this point, I feel like there's a risk that this unit right here might be killed. I'm just gonna remove him from the fight. And then as we brought up the second unit, this should be it. I've got over 7,000 men against his 1,000. This should be a safe out-resolve, and it is. We lose 700 men out of 7,000, almost 8,000 actually, and they end up losing everyone. However, we will not hold on to this region. We will hand it back to the Prussians. Unfortunately, the replenishment rate will absolutely tank in this region because of that, I'm pretty sure. But with that, we leave Napoleon with a single region. A single bloody region. Currently, Napoleon... Oh, he's not at war with Russia anymore. He's only at war with Royal France, the Greeks, and me. This is an odd combination. But since he's actually got nowhere to go, he's just forced to sit here and wait for us to come to him with his Polish-German army. Actually, the replenishment rate remained pretty good even throughout this. I thought it was gonna tank because that's what it usually does when I hand it over to the I was about to say the enemy, which in a certain way they kind of are because they keep stealing my stuff. But for the next episode then, I will be bringing these three armies down to face Napoleon at Warsaw. Maybe he's able to gather a bit more Polish troops before this fight, but that's it. That will be the last video, the next one, and then we will, as per usual, I ask for suggestions for what campaign we'll do next. The 5 top results that you ask for will be turned into votes, and then we'll vote on what we're gonna do, what campaign we'll do, and then usually I add a secondary vote once we know what mod we're gonna do to what nation we should be doing in that game mod. That almost sounded like say gay mod. Game. Whatever. Right. We're done with this episode. We had our battles. We had our sieges. And that's that. So, with that said, I will be saying, like I always say, hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and hopefully I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye.